Hello, Swivelheads. It's Greg Allison Green Greg's coming to you live on the 8th of April, 22. Time on deck is 2900 hours Central Daylight Time. Yes, it's the waning moments, waning half hour of the 8th of April. And a lot is going on in the world right now. The world is very unsettled. So what we're doing here tonight, I'll talk a little bit about some of these things, but mostly my Friday night sessions and usually my Wednesday night sessions are just an opportunity for my viewers, my subscribers, to catch up and chat with me and ask me a zillion questions, which you're off to do because I cover such a broad spectrum of topics. However, this is more so about us being a family session. There's a chance that we can get together in violation of the new social norms. It says we don't get together. This is a time that we can share and be a family, be together here on my channel. So, and by the way, this is a family channel and this is a family video. So please refrain from any use of colorful language and respect the different people in the chat room and of course the channel. And if you don't, my mods will probably take care of your comments real fast. Again, family comments, family channel, keep it clean, folks. That's all we ask here, and be nice to each other because we are a family. So, all right, guys, like I said, a lot's going on in the world right now. I'm going to open up a browser over here to watch your comments on my laptop as we go. And a lot of things happen. Let's see who's in the room real fast. Oak Tree, Camo Underwear, Blue, Joe Blundell, Joshua Richards, and New Days Always. Hey, folks, how y'all doing? And we got 25 in the room. So we're going to get into this. And someone will talk about here in a minute. Let's see. Somebody's my computer shut down. I got to restore my laptop. You know, there's something going on. You know, you've heard probably on some other channels already talking about that Vladimir Putin was seen with his nuclear briefcase today, and that he's been out and about with it, and that's caused a lot of people to be unsettled in this new specter of World War III that a lot of people are worried about. This really caused a lot of people to become unglued. I actually find this much that interesting. That's worrisome, but I find it equally fascinating. The event that Vladimir Putin was attending, the funeral. In fact, it's the individual whose funeral that he went to that catches my attention more than anything else. I'm going to share that with you guys real quick here in just a moment. So let me, while this other stuff's going out, I am going to dial up my channel over here so I can keep up with you guys in the chat session as I go through the various tabs. So give me one momentum, please. And we'll do this. So hang on, guys. Do 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 do. Hope this is muted. Nope, but it will be, hopefully. Oh, the video's muted. Okay, good enough, good enough, good enough. There we go. The chat room is open right here. So I can watch y'all. So you see me looking over here all the time. I'm seeing what you guys are having to say. Hey, GG in chat room, says New Days. Bama girl. Hey, Greg. Hey, Bama girl. What part of Bama are you from? I'm going to show a little slice. Hey, Brandy's in the house. Roll Tide. Hey, I got my Roll Tide shirt on, Brandy. You see? All right. Yeah. Loudy, guys. It's Friday. Fried, green Greg's and ham, and I feel fried tonight. And I still got a lot to do. So we may not go really long tonight. Please hit the thumbs up, everyone, says New Days. So thank you very much for that, Katie. Yeah, we got 34 in the room and only 10 thumbs up. Guys, we need help with the algorithm. It has no rhythms because my channel has been shadow banned. There's much smaller channels than me where the guy is not a subject matter expert on things I cover a lot, and their videos get 10 times more views than mine. So help me out, guys, especially after the video I did with a guy running for governor of New Mexico. Boy, that video was taken off like a rocket, and then all at once it went poof, the views just stopped. Thought they probably just discovered who this guy was. He was running against one of their favorites in one of their dearest sacred states. So they had a stomp on that video really hard, and they stepped on the next video of mine right after that hard too. So yeehaw, Bob White, how you doing? Two hands working. Hello from Middle Georgia. All right, very good. All right, we got some Bama folks in here. That's great. Al Gore has no rhythm, and here he is. Al Gore has no rhythm. Ask and you shall receive, right? Tammy Shirk, hey. All right. So let's see. All right, appreciate the thumbs up there. Prepperdale, how you, Greg and folks? I'm in Central Pennsylvania. Hey, Prepperdale, how you doing? Yeah, we'll talk a little prepper stuff here. So hang on, guys. Let me go over here and do a share screen. And before I do, I'll change where the screen's looking. This is the individual whose funeral Vladimir Putin was going to, Vladimir Zhirinovsky. This is the original Mad Vlad. When people talk about Mad Vlad, this man was Mad Vlad before we even knew who Vladimir Putin was. This man was already registering on the political spectrum of world consciousness, so much to the point that if you ever saw the movie Crimson Tide, in which, Crimson Tide, which was a naval adventure wherein World War III was almost started by a rogue Russian who had seized part of Russia and was targeting nuclear missiles at the United States. And so that was the event that supposedly triggered the stuff that was happening in the movie Crimson Tide, where the submarine nearly launches nuclear missiles because they lost signal and blah, 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 which led, this maybe kind of reflected on the fact that we took away a lot of our submarine commanders' ability to do these kind of things, which in the end might mean we're totally vulnerable to first strike from Russia. So that may be a very bad thing in the end. Monashi Prepper, how you doing? Maybe we need to go back to that. But the character, the movie, the Russian character who was supposedly the impetus of all this was this man, Vladimir Zhirinovsky, the original Mad Vlad. This man, and he just died, and Putin went to his funeral. And we'll talk a little bit about Putin at his funeral first, but let's have a look at this man. This man is has been a very fiery member of the Russian community there. He's run for president. He's one person that could run for president and not get poisoned for some reason. Everybody else ran for president in Russia, if they had a chance of unseating the other Vladimir, tended to wake up dead or poisoned or imprisoned. So this guy has escaped all these things. He's got his own little power base. He started his own political party before the Soviet Union fell, actually. So this is interesting. He even ran it by Gorbachev, or his who did I think what's his name? He used to call him Gorbachev. Shoot, I'm getting brain locked. Radio man, Rush Limbaugh, Gorbachev. Anyway, so Gorby. So this man, what he's known for is inciting for warfare. This man thought that Russia should attack the United States and seize Alaska, and then, of course, he thought that Russia should attack other countries, take over Ukraine, and send the Ukrainians to Alaska. So the Russians would have Ukraine all to themselves. Now, the funny thing is, his daddy was actually a Ukrainian Jew, and his mama was Russian, but Russian from Moldova, yeah. But he really had it in for the Ukrainians. Interesting, right? He was actually born in Kazakhstan. So he was calling for a lot of militaristic adventures and things in here. They don't tell you the stuff that I just told you in this article, but there's plenty in this article that's of great interest. I'm not going to go through it and read all this, but he basically wanted to see Russian troops be able to wash their boots in the Indian Ocean. So he wanted Russia to expand basically from the Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean and over to Alaska and more. So there's a lot of this stuff in here about this individual. Randy, Greg has the worms. I'm at the beach at the moment. I'm getting cold here too. Yeah, it's getting cold up here, Brandy. So you're down at the beach. You down at the Gulf Shores? Anyway, let's see. Jason Smith. There are Ukrainians in Alaska. A lot in Delta Junction. Jason, are you in Delta Junction? when I was in Alaska, one of the guys who was active in our computer room was a Jew that was held at Auschwitz. He survived. He had the numbers on it. He died when I was up there. He died when I was in Alaska. But his wife, actually, I took a computer class with his wife. And the guy was, I don't know, he might have been Ukrainian. I don't know what his ancestry was. But he had the numbers tattooed on him from where he was held in Auschwitz. He was Jewish. So I thought that was very interesting to meet a guy such as that. By the way, so that's interesting that you should bring that up. Very interesting. So Jason, have you ever been to Fort Greely? Have you ever been to Delta Junction? Delta Junction is a little town next to Fort Greely. I say little town. When I was stationed at Fort Greely, if you drew a circle 100 miles in diameter around Fort Greely, you'd be lucky if you could find 2,000 people in that 100-mile diameter circle. In fact, you had to go 100 miles to reach the nearest red light. Yeah, so I just found out Ukraine is a hot spot for human trafficking. Yeah, where is not a hot spot for human trafficking right now? To be honest, the United States. Is a big one. If you want to know, unfortunately, there's too much of that. Too much. See, hey Arnold, how you doing? We got Jason Smith. We got Arnold Schmidt. 36 is his checking number. And Drops, how are you doing? Let's see. I hope we get our good friends that we've been looking for. Gorgeous Awesome was actually in my last chat session, and I was surprised, but I didn't catch. I think they left before I discovered they were in the chat session. I was so busy going through some tabs. So that's Mr. Greg. I read an article that said Russia wants as much land as it can to surround Israel and then get rid of Israel. There's different opinions and about that. Now, one of the things that you can credit Vladimir Zhirinovsky with, he said that nobody would ever, he wouldn't allow anybody to attack Israel, but at the same time, he wanted all the Israelis to speak Russian. So he had a whole set of views of his own. This is him and Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin and Vladimir Zhirinovsky. And Vladimir Zhirinovsky was maybe a little bit older. He died at the age of 76, supposedly of the bug that's going around. So it's where's Granny? Well, I don't know. I think Granny was in last time. I have not been. Delta Junction has the highest percentage of Ukrainians of any city in America. Wow, really? Delta Junction has the highest percentage of Ukrainians of any city in America. Well, that means they got 10 people. Delta Junction is so small. I mean, seriously, guys. It also had more millionaires per capita. When I was in Delta Junction, it had more millionaires per capita than any city in America. But there was no mansions. Not a single mansion to be found in Delta Junction. So imagine that. Not one. I mean, somebody back then, I'm talking back 1981, when somebody's making $40,000 a year to be over like $150,000 today, they would be living in a little shack made out of the black press board, basically. It would be, nothing. Alaska is extremely expensive, by the way. There was a guy named Jerry Barger. His wife actually ran a local insurance company. He actually became the mayor of Delta Junction. Jerry had actually worked for Gerald Bull, who did the rifle. He built the Hart rifle, which was two naval guns welded together that sent a round into space. So it was actually shot a bullet into space, basically. He hit space from a set of naval guns. Saddam Hussein hired him to build the world's largest artillery piece, and the Mossad took him out. But One guy who used to work for Gerald Bull before the Mossad took him out, before all that was happening back when, and when I was talking to him, Gerald Bull was still alive, was Jerry Barger. Jerry Barger was the head of the tech division of the Coal Regions Test Center, which was my unit at Fort Greely, Alaska, but he was a civilian. And he's come in and sit at my desk, and we would talk for an hour or two. And many times, and I found after I left Alaska, the guy was worth $10 million back in 1981 or so. Alaska is very interesting. It's like going to a whole nother planet. Fort Greely, Delta Junction area were very, very remote. It was like living on a Mars base. Seriously, it was really remote. You had to put on your EVA suit just to go outside, and everything had to be shuttled in. Very expensive, very remote, and very beautiful. They would have the most Ukrainians per capita. Does not surprise me. I didn't know anybody specifically there as being Ukrainian, but that didn't mean they weren't. Like I said, the individual that I was aware of who had been held in Auschwitz, he could have been Ukrainian, and his wife could have been Ukrainian. I never inquired. I don't know. I knew them both. So I took a computer class with the wife. The guy worked in a computer center. We had an IBM 4331 mainframe computer, and I had a terminal to it. And I ran the installation equipment management system, which was a database that tracked a database in 1981, 82, 83 till I left, that tracked the equipment there that we received to do testing on at the Coal Regions Test Center. All property belonging to the Coal Regions Test Center went through my database. It was all done with old-fashioned batch mode processing. It was a tape drive system, and you had to have we used punch cards basically to put data into it. Then we got a terminal, computer terminal. I learned how to program computers when I was at Fort Greely, and I learned how to program the language that they set the screens up. And I hacked other people's terminals. I wouldn't mess with them. Once I learned the language, I had a lot of fun with people. I was learning computer stuff faster than a lot of people that were supposed to be running it. But this guy, I can't remember his name. He actually worked in the computer center. One of the things that I had to do before I left was totally redo the parking lot. I've been telling for years that this thing was so messed up. We did equipment utilization data and tracking for mobile equipment there. And I used to generate all these reports, big reams of reports, boxes and boxes of them they sent to the Pentagon to examine on our equipment. Who read through all this stuff, but it was a horrendous amount of junk I generated to send out there. And it was, but we were a test center. I was the only military operator of an equipment management installation equipment management system in the entire Army. All the rest of the places, it was civilians doing it. And they had soldiers doing it there for a long time. And my predecessors had totally messed it up. Before I left, I finally got permission to fix it, but they waited like just a few weeks before I was to leave. Suddenly it was like, 80-hour weeks. We wound up having my shop and the neighboring shop, both shops. I wound up as an E4 running a crew of about 40 people, including officers, to get the job done, to run all the data back through. And I was generating boxes, and the computer terminal wouldn't handle it because it just had a little disk, magnetic storage disk, which were very tiny back in the day compared to what we have today. And just they couldn't contain the data. So we had to go back to the punch card system. And I was running punch cards like crazy. I mean, just boxes and boxes and boxes of punch cards. The computer center had to run 24/7 to keep up with this stuff for, at least 2 weeks. It was a huge campaign to get all that stuff shot through. I got an RCOM for my effort there. This Army Commendation Medal. We had an IG inspect, and I got flying colors in the IG inspection. But it was a mess, and I had to get it fixed. And I made recommendations to them that they take that job and make it a civilian job. But the guy I knew who'd worked in that computer center died. I don't know what kind of computer they got there now. Back then it was IBM 4331. Personal computers were a brand new thing. Back then, the state of the art for personal computers were Radio Shack's TRS 80. We called them Trash 80s, and Apple IIe's. And I had played with both. I learned how to program there. In fact, there was a captain there, a black captain, that was one of my software instructors when I was there. He actually wanted me to re-enlist as a software programmer and stay at Fort Greely. And I was really tempted to do that. but I didn't. I got out of the Army. I went to college at UAH in Alabama. So anyway, I remember punch cards, says Drops. Hey, listen, punch cards are based on something called binary coded decimal, which is like a subset of what spun off from that is known as ASCII code, American Standard Information Interchange Code. And I could actually, they used to would print ink on top of the punch cards to tell you what it said in it. But you didn't have to print the ink on it. I got so good with it, binary coded decimal, that I could hold a punch card up and look at the holes, position the holes, and tell you what that punch card said. Once you get used to it, I ran so many of them I could duplicate those cards like crazy. Zip, 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 zip. When I got out of the Army and went to college in UAA, Taz, it's getting down to 39 on the coast. Yeah, it's getting to 33 here. We'll probably have a frost tonight. So if you put out tomatoes up here, for shame, everybody ought to know you don't put out tomatoes the 15th of, if you plant anything before the 15th of April, you're at risk of losing around here. Crunchy biscuit. Greg, I read an article saying that the worm castings from red wigglers aren't very good quality. Who said that? Good Lord, I plant plants in them and grow them straight out of worm castings, and they grow like crazy. Like I make worm tea from it, and I had guys who set up 2 tomato areas. One they put my worm tea on, one they didn't. And where the worm tea was, those tomatoes grew twice as tall. So yeah, they're extremely good quality. Whoever come up with that idea? What article did you read that in, Crunchy Biscuit? Some people are full of it. That's all I use. I don't use artificial fertilizers at all in my garden. Worm castings are what I use. So let's see. Paul Smith, Vladimir Zhirinovsky. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about Vladimir Zhirinovsky here in a minute. Yeah, there's the 2 Vlad. Some people refer to Vladimir Putin as Mad Vlad, but this was the original Mad Vlad, Vladimir Zhirinovsky. Now, what's interesting is that they say that Vladimir Putin has turned to basically accepting a lot of the stuff that Vladimir Zhirinovsky was saying. And again, Alaska used to be Russian. America bought the Seward's Folly, bought Alaska from Russia so Russia could have money to fight the Japanese. Yeah, Russia had a battle with Japanese, and they took some territory from the Japanese, as you know. Right now, the Kuril Islands are contested between Japan and Russia. And Russia, right this moment, with everything that's going on, Russia's holding military drills on those islands right now. That's weird. Tracy Demir says, Mr. MBB 333 has also had a video of the tunnel cloud that people sit in over Alaska. Same picture that Marfigel showed. Tunnel cloud. Tunnel. You mean a funnel cloud? I tell you what, tornadoes are very, very rare in Alaska. Extremely rare. That's what you're talking about. My first summer in Alaska, I heard 3 reports of thunder. One day. It just thundered like 3 times. The troposphere is thinner up there because it's centrifugally accelerated more to the polar regions of the world. So as you go north, it's thinner. So thunderheads don't build as tall. So you don't get the thunderheads in Alaska like you do down here. The clouds look very different. The sun it spends a lot more of the day at lower angles in the atmosphere. So the sky typically has a pink hue to it. The sky looks different. The rocks look different. The trees look different. And the crows are hoarse. Of course, those horse crows are actually ravens. They're not crows. They're related. I have seen an entire forest of trees that would only grow knee high. It might be 100-year-old trees, but they were like bonsai trees. They were permanently stunning because they grew on top of permafrost. Alaska is a different world, guys. Very different. But I'll tell you something. When I was in the Army in Alaska and we worried about Russia invaded, my unit was almost like a civilian job unit. I used to rest on a lot of comfort that we would probably be protected by the civilians around us, that the civilians would protect the Army. Because whereas we might not have enough M16s to cover our unit. You go out to the civilian world out there, and you go to about any house and it'd open a Foot Locker and it'd be loaded up full of fresh nugs. Them nuggets had a lot of kibbles. Crows grow horse at -70. Yeah, I've actually seen it that cold. I think it hasn't been that cold up there in years, but when I was there, it got cold. Yeah, a real crow would grow horse. The real crow would probably freeze to death. Those ravens were bigger. So anyway, I just find it very interesting that, everybody was talking about Vladimir Putin carrying around this nuclear football, but the story was he was at Vladimir Zhirinovsky's funeral. And Vladimir Zhirinovsky, he really wanted a huge expansion of Russia, big time, to include, like I said, taking back Alaska. So he been described as a fascist. So yeah, I could see that in many ways. So and so Mr. Putin, who's trying to denazify Ukraine, goes to this guy's funeral. Anyway, so much for all that. The other interesting thing about hey Wazal, how you doing? It's an interesting thing. He's in the house. Very good, Chewy. Yeah, we got all of our regulars back here tonight. Mary, Min, Greg, you have worms ready to sell? Not yet. They're not ready to sell yet. We're still building some worm beds. We got to get all my worm beds brimming full before I sell them. Dadgummit, one of my hired hands put fresh wood chips in some of the beds where they had taken the wood chips around and totally had them perfectly composted. They're just worm castings. Now I can't run those beds. I wish they hadn't have done that. But anyway, things happen. The problem is I got a day job. I ain't micromanage everything, and stuff happens. So that little things like that can impact how much I'll get to run. May limit things. Don't you wonder if those supposedly old barges off from Guantanamo are really just saving themselves? Barges? Guantanamo? I don't know, Brandy. So Ace Lee, hello, and good afternoon. Well, thank you, Ace Lee. Good to see you. So this whole thing with the nuclear football, though, Putin had everybody cleared out of the church before he went in. So there's two things that they say Putin is worried about. One is catching what they say killed Vladimir Zhirinovsky, which was the crud bug going around, according to the reports. The other thing is that it's claimed that he's worried about being assassinated. So they're clearing folks out and keeping security around them tight and keeping them away from other people. And some people think that he's extraordinarily worried about catching the crud bug because they claim he's got thyroid cancer. So I don't know, guys. These are claims made. Right now we're in a fog of war. And what the biggest thing you can be sure of in the fog of war is all kinds of propaganda coming from all sides. So take everything with a grain of salt at first, guys. Brandy says they say there's been many arrested and are off the barge off the coast of Volcano. Or who they claims in them. Be careful. It sounds like that letter with the squiggly tail story. There were a lot of crazy stories told about that stuff. Who do they claim is in these barges? SLM. Mr. Gregg, do you think I could grow the redworms in Costa Rica? Oh yeah. I have seen them in the soil. You've seen redworms in the soil? They're really surface worms. They don't bury down as deep as night crawlers that you typically get in places. So they're perfect for raising in beds. What you would want to have in Costa Rica, now you got mountains in Costa Rica, which makes you have cooler places, but you want them under shade. Definitely want to keep them under shade. So his daughters are also locked down. Well, also the West has sanctioned his daughters. So, the West is really amping up stuff to look, guys, here's the thing. The tensions between the East and the West are going off chart. we have sanctioned Putin's daughters. I mean, now that is really personal, really personal. I think that should be off the chart. You should never pick on family, no matter what. And, you know, Putin is paranoid. He's got his finger on the big red button. You might say that big red trigger. And he's talked about using that trigger. So we, you know, we're going into risky times. We're going into very risky times. This is the kind of things that worry me, is that, you know, the language used, you know, they told us, they told Finland that if they went into NATO, that they would be destroyed. And yet Finland is really scared too. All these other countries around there are scared. And so now countries like Finland and Sweden had no interest in joining NATO or chomping at the bit. They've applied to join. They're looking to try to get in because they're afraid they're about to be run over. And then you get Russia actually flew jets with nukes on board into Sweden, just over the border into Sweden. So there's just all kind of crazy stuff going on right now. The world is getting nuts. Ivan Langley says, feels like it's time. Time for what? Why is our high-band don't believe in all that arrest stuff? Well, that's just it. We had all these stories about all these people that were arrested, or the, you know, 70,000 warrants. And what did they tell us? Those same people told us that the military was going to put Trump back in office before, you know, the swearing-in ceremony. So how did that work? Yeah, they told us that stuff, and they told us, yeah. So I guess Mr. General Milli Vanilli was going to do that, right? That general and his entire staff hated Trump. You know, we got a very woke the Joint Chiefs of Staff. You got, you know, what a lot of people forget is Obama fired scads of field-grade officers in the military. Trump did not rectify that. He left Obama's officers in charge. So why is Obama's officers going to do all these favors for Trump? Like a lot of people were telling at the time, it wasn't going to happen. It was not in the cards. Yeah, there were retired officers and other officers serving in the Trump administration. Most of them weren't active duty, and a lot of them actually turned on Trump. You know, so this thing's keeping. Ivan Langley, Elton, good evening. So yeah, so just be careful. Have you heard of NASA's concept of helical engine, or EM drive? EM drive's crunchy biscuit. There's, you know, what happens when you have an experiment, you're supposed to be able to replicate it in other labs, and if other labs can't replicate it, they have a lot of doubts on it. And supposedly the EM drive has not been replicated, although the creator still claims it's efficacy. So I think there's a lot that remains to be seen yet about the EM drive. Yeah, I know all about the EM drive, but you know, there's a lot of contention about it. So we'll just have to say, don't mess with family. You're right, Kenny. That's the problem. So we are picking on the family, and picking on the family invites a lot of consternation. There's several things that is being done right now that, you know, Russia says if you cross this line, it's war. And they've claimed even these sanctions are war. But here's the other oddball thing. While we're picking on Hungary and India for their stand, do you realize that we're embargoing with something like $1 billion in trade with Russia? But we actually are trading with Russia. The United States is still buying uranium and fuel from Russia. In fact, the trade with Russia is on the order of fuel with NATO and Western countries. The trade with Russia is on the order of $33 billion right now. So there's a lot of hypocrisy in what you're hearing. That's why I'm telling you guys, there's so much hypocrisy. There's so much propaganda out there. You really got to be able to sort through it. It's really just amazing. Hey, Jesse from Northeast Arizona, my neighborhood in the great state of Arizona. All right, we got Cha-Cha in the house. How you doing, Cha-Cha? Amanda, how you doing, Amanda? USA, you done your part. I never said we didn't. I never said we didn't, Amanda. And So has the British Empire, which spawned us and spawned y'all too. So British Empire has done their part. So, you know, we've all got bad parts in our past. The key thing is to try to overcome them, to learn and do better. What do I stand for in this channel? One thing above all is freedom. For anybody, everybody, freedom. It's when other people start stepping on your freedoms that I get my nose twisted, maybe. Freedom is my main thing that I stand for. If no one understands what was in Ukraine before, this towel, T-O, you mean two, needs to stop. It all needs to stop. So, my main purpose here is the world. It has to the world disgrace. The man that your English is a little broken up. To the world is a disgrace. Hey, Greg, how you doing? So, only to the nation, not the world. All right, Amanda. I'm sad and angry. So much hate to Russia. I'm not talking hate to Russia right now. I'm talking about people. I'm talking about Vladimir Zhirinovsky. I'm talking about prospects for war, irregardless. So to pay attention to what I'm actually saying, not what you think I'm saying. You come in there with your guns blazing before you've even heard me. So what I am talking about here, we are at risk of war. Whatever side you want to fall for, whatever. What I'm telling you is that we're at risk for a bigger war. That is my point. What I was saying, the West was poking at it. I was not taking the side of the West when I was saying that. I was actually, if you had been listening, Amanda, was, you know, it was a gig on NATO that we're doing things like attacking the family of Putin. So there's like what I have said here is that there's lots of disinformation. We are in a period right now of heavy propaganda on both sides. There are atrocities being committed by both sides, horrendous atrocities. No doubt about that. It's the nature of war. But a lot of these atrocities are amping up the current circumstances. They're amping it up quite a bit. We see what part we see from our media having reported. We're watching the same side that what Ukraine reports here in the West. So that's what we see. That's what's reported. The effect of that may be that NATO will respond at some point. But what I've told people is that, and what I say on this channel is that all governments are bad. Every single government is bad. Every single one of them. They all play us against each other. And that's what's happened here. If you've paid attention to the stuff I've been saying in the past, I really think we're being played by both sides of this toward, you know, maybe the aims of Mr. Schwab. You gotta remember, you know, there's a little game called good cop, bad cop. Well, the bad cops got free to play bad cop. And some people play the roles very well. That don't mean that both sides aren't bingo, and I agree with that. That don't mean that both sides aren't bad cops. The good cop sometimes is a bad cop. You know, you just got to have a guy set up to be the fall guy. So at least in the eyes of one side versus the other. Of course, you can play it where it's all in the eyes of the beholder, according to the way the news media skews things. So I changed. I didn't stand down. I charged. I didn't stand down. I charged them what, Brandy? I had a break in. Oh, had a gun to my head. Was knocked off my feet and told to get. When was this? Oh. I think I know what you're talking about. Is this the occasion you told me about, Brandy, or is this something new? Hope this is not new. Yeah, Kenny, we're being divided. That's what I think. Randy, is this the story you told me, or is you just had something happen? Oh, yeah. See, exactly. What I worry about is all this solar activity. It might be the perfect chance for somebody to hit us on the EMP. Then you would go, was it the sun? If you're expecting the sun to take you out and somebody hits you with an EMP and your grid goes down, you're going to think, oh, the sun did it. It's new. Randy, well, okay, Brandon, new or old story? Which one is it? Because I did ask you if this is new, and I asked you if it's one you told me about. Yeah, Brandy's had a tough time, guys. She's had a tough time. I hope this is not a new occasion. Second. Yeah. Anyway, guys, the world has got a lot of evil. It's got a lot of wicked in it. And I tell you, there's good people in every, now, one thing I tell you, there's good people in every nation, every city, every shire, every oblast, county, whatever you want to call it. I said it so many times on here. Some of you forget I talk this way. You really forget it because you come here attacking me all the time. Just as there's good people everywhere, there's bad people everywhere. Here, there, and everywhere. And those bad people take advantage of all these kind of situations. They love conflict. They love it better than anybody because that's where they can divide the sheets. And, you know, there's those that say never let a crisis go to waste, right? Guns don't actually, bullets do. It's the person that pulls the trigger, guys. It's the person that pulls the trigger. So, you're right, Brandy. People do. Got a lot of false beliefs out here right now. So, this is what we got to watch out for. We got to watch and test everything. Take nothing for granted, and put no faith in any one person, any one man. You know, what? Let's see. What was the verse? Yeah, you know, you just can't put your faith in anyone, in any one individual. We're all fallible. We all have our flaws. Every one of us have flaws. Everybody's got good and bad in them. Question is how much good and how much bad. You know, Mother Teresa must have had just a little bit of bad in her. You know, it was very hard to see. But they say even an Adolf Hitler would have just a little bit of good in him. That's the whole yin yang idea now. But you know, so how much? What's the ratio of good versus bad, evil versus, you know? It's a good question. It's a good question. Autobots, we're always in military mode. So I would rather use defense spending for space exploration. There you go. Yeah, it's too bad that we got to have a world with all this mess in it. Where does this mess come from? It comes from individuals that take over a big nation, any big nation, give them enough time. And this is the kind of stuff that starts evolving. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And this whole idea of the nations, hey, you know, all these other places belong to us. It's all very perverse. All very perverse. How about actual defense? Okay, there you go. But at the same time, you can't be the weak guy in the block. You know, we're seeing today that people are no different today than they were, you know, 500 years ago, except we're just less smart about the ideas of governing people. And I will say that we're less smart about the ideas of social interaction and governance of people. Our ancestors were smarter in those regards than we are. They wrote far more eloquently about those kind of things than people today can even comprehend. Yet people today will tell you that their documents are antiquated. That just means they're ignorant. They're highly ignorant. That's my opinion. Greg, what do you think about Elon Musk? Elon Musk is an interesting enigma. I met him a couple of times. I've talked to him. I've asked him questions, but I haven't seen him in person in years. I went to a conference, a small workshop actually, with just a handful of people, with Gwen Shotwell, who's basically the president of SpaceX. She was, this was before they launched anything. She was a bright young lady. She's young now, but the plan was put in place long ago. Yeah, there you go, Brandy. Look, if you look at what's going on right now, I'm going to come back to Elon. If you look at what's going on right now, so this is the perfect plan to hit that big button called the set, the re. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying not to say it directly. I mean, it's all plays into. They got to take down the entire economy. They got to destroy our economy. They got to destroy everything to build it back the way they want it. And this war serves their purposes better than anything that's ever come along. So that's why, you know, I got to ask if they're not, if Putin is in with Schwab. I really got to ask that. They were buddy. I told just supposedly really recently. So, and all these people are telling me that you know, he's out there, you know, against the NWO. Really? I think he's done more to help the NWO than anybody, because he's helping to reset big time. Oops, I shouldn't have said that. Got to watch my language here very much. What do most of the oligarchs in Russia and Ukraine have in common? Well, they're all of Russian descent. So what is the all right, Matt, tell us what you think. Bible says there's nothing new on the sun, evil no matter. I'm gonna show that comment. Oh, I missed it. Bing. There we go. Bible says nothing new under the sun. Evil men do evil no matter what. No matter what. Oh, I missed it. SLED again. Kids don't understand socialism, communism, and have experienced depression. Yeah, they've been programmed. You're right, Brandy. You're right about that. So, Matt, what's your take on that? Tell us. And yet we vote the ignorant into office. Don't we? All too often. But then again, that's what goes up the party lines. But then again, that's what the system promotes too. You know, if you're really a brilliant person, they don't want you running. You know, Black Sabbath. Well, yeah. I'm gonna show that comment. Whoa, where'd it go? Yeah, there he goes. Good. Somebody beat me to it. You know, Black Sabbath saying war pigs. That's right. Hey, somebody in their channel that likes that song. Everybody wants to rule the world. Well, yeah, too many of them, that's for sure. Too many of them. A lot of people started out thinking, oh, if only I ruled the world, I'd fix everything. But, you know, they'd be the biggest tyrants in the world. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Said by Lord Acton. And there's trust no man, saith the Lord, you know. No, not one. No man is pure. Jesse is alive. I mean, Jesus? Or we don't want Jesse James. Jesse. We got a Jesse in our chat from Arizona, northeast Arizona, my area, that state. It has a lot of wood, a lot of wood and nails. Madam Gross, how you doing? When Musk got the apartment to the board of Twitter, I had like, oh yeah, pointed. Yeah, well, he bought into Twitter so much. He bought a big chunk of Twitter. So I got to hand it to Musk that he does think outside the box. He thinks for himself. He is his own man. He does a lot of thinking. I relate to him in several ways. That he don't sleep. He's up all the time. He works hard. He's a workaholic. His advantage was he started out, you know, hey, I started the rocket business. So I started out with no money. He started his out with money. Made a big difference. You know, his difference was he went in first from, you know, the internet. You know, he invented PayPal and made a fortune with PayPal. You know, and a couple partners. And he took that and put it in the rocket business. He started SpaceX. And that's where I started encountering him and some of his people. I said, Gwen Schott was a really bright young lady back when I met her. She's still a really bright lady, probably not so young now, but neither am I as young as I was then. So we're talking around, you know, before the year 2010. So my impression of Elon is that he is an individual. He thinks for himself. I don't think even though he is a very elite, he doesn't quite follow their drumbeat. He's on his own drumbeat. He's trying to solve problems and do it in his own way, and he don't really care so much about what they think. And that's why he wants to go to Mars. necessarily believe Mars is the right answer. I got better answers, I think, than Mars. But the downside is, well, he asked a question that I asked some time back too. It's like, how can we combat the singularity, AI? And I always said, well, we're the masters of AI. We program it. And so somebody's always going to be in control. The question is who's in control. It's going to be some man behind the curtain somewhere with an AI, intelligence AI system. Some people think it will grow beyond the ability of people to control it. I don't believe that AI will ever be sentient as long as it's based on computers that run off of arithmetic logic units. I've talked about that. But something I included about 20 years ago that Elon came up behind later was, I saw electronics go from those IBM 4331 computers that I first worked with down to, I had a computer in my pocket at one time called an OQO. Now you look at what's in the phones. Well, computers get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and get closer and closer and closer to it. So I said, well, one day we're going to put it right in the head. And I was telling a lot of friends this, 20 years ago, and they laugh at me. I said, yep, it's going to go right in the old bean. So the problem is they're going to be able to control you. But the good thing is you will be able to compete with AI. And that's how I saw it at first. The only way to compete with AI was if you when people take the computers in themselves. Which I'm not saying I want that, no. And I tell you, part of the objective of my channel is keep you out of the hive. You do that, you're in the hive. If you could have one that was totally under your control, that might be different, but that's not what you're going to get, unfortunately. That's why you don't want anything that they're going to be handing out in this regard. But, I see where Elon come up with his neural net concept and why he come up with it. But I just fear it will be abused down the road. And I don't think that's what Elon's doing necessarily. But that's probably where we're heading with it. So, Elon's got his own flaws and his ego is part of it. But on the other hand, he lives in a simple house. He's very much utilitarian. And, I'm probably utilitarian myself. I don't go out for fancy stuff. I could have bought a really nice car for all the money and paid off my debt and bought a nice car for all the money I spent on my worm farm and all these old beat up vehicles I got. Gates isn't human. You might be onto something, Ivan. He's a creep, that's for sure. And Rena said that. Yeah, he's creepy, all right. He's a creep. He's a nasty creep. Now I've just heard some stories about him recently that just gives you the heebie-jeebies. And it's beyond him playing on Epstein Island. I can't talk about it here. Just flat can't talk about it. Anyway, I shouldn't stay on this Vladimir Zhirinovsky page so long. I've been here forever. Let me stop the share. Oh, hey, by the way, we'll go look at something brighter. Here's where I'm from. And we got a few people in here from Alabama. Look, but this thing cuts across a big portion of Alabama. It's Sand Mountain. Sand Mountain's huge. I think it's considered the largest plateau mountain in the world by some sources. It's definitely one of the most populated ones. So it's a sandstone plateau. In Tennessee, it's also known as Raccoon Mountain. Part of it goes into Tennessee up in here, and part of it's in northwest Georgia. So Sand Mountain goes to here. From here, off this picture, down almost to Birmingham. It's 75 miles long and 25 miles wide. The average height, according to this article, is 1,500 feet, which is above the sea level, which the local ground level is about 500 feet. Maybe here's a 650 feet high, depends on where you're at along the way here. So it's known as the coolest area in Alabama. So this has a cooler temperature. Like up in this area where I live, all the rocks are limestone, but where I grew up, they were sandstone. So this is talking about Russell Cave, Bridgeport, a lot of the things. Cherokee and Creek Indians lived on Sand Mountain, different parts of it. Has role in the war betwixt the states, and quite a few things. So just thought I'd change topics here. for a minute. Let me go off the share here for a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll look at some of the stuff we normally cover here. So let's do a let's stop share. Hey, hello. How are y'all doing? So I'm gonna go back here and look at y'all's chat. Try to pay attention more to this tonight. Good fishing in Alabama. Oh yeah, we got Tennessee River. We got lots of lakes. Alabama's got tons of inland waterways. Brandy says, Tommy Battle, there are so many people that make me want to what? Do we have Tommy Battle in the house here? Because you said at Tommy Battle. Were you like trying? Oh, Tommy Bentley. Pardon me. Tommy Battle is the mayor. We got Tommy Bentley in the house here. There it is. Tommy Bentley. If you had a computer in your head, would you reboot? Let me hit it to the wall. Problem is, the hackers might get into you. Give me a robot. Yeah, what happens if you start running off an operating system and it just latches up like this computer does here? One day, everybody in the world will just go catatonic like this. Nobody's ever made me again. Yeah, I can see the disasters of this too. AI is learning from us. The problem is that AI has logic knowledge without compassion, love, understanding, and so will never attain wisdom. Well, it'll never be sentient. It's an algorithm. It's just an algorithm or a set of algorithms. It'll never, ever even know itself. So how could it have compassion? It has nothing. It's not alive. Yet it can make decisions according to the algorithms. That's the scary part. That's the scary part. And algorithms might be self-sustaining. There might be algorithms that survive because they're algorithms that survive. So it becomes like a genetic quality, almost like a living system, but without being sentient, because there's no soul in the machine, unless some soul outside decides to occupy the machine. I don't think human souls can do that. Ivan planted plenty good stack today. Good to hear that, Ivan. Good to hear that. Let's see, how come the screen ain't rolling right? Matterman funny. What did Matterman say? Matterman, Mazel. I like to let my dog leave a carbon deposit on Al Gore's lawn down there in Middle Tennessee. Carbon deposit. There you go. Let's see here. So yeah, hey Cassandra, how you doing? Yeah, let's see. We got 100 in the room and only 89 thumbs up. Okay, guys, help me out a little bit. I really need the help. John in the spirit. Totally agree. The old books ate the way we go. Eight. I have my own esoteric library, 1,400 plus books. I got a book or two. And I got other bookshelves. And yeah, Katie knows about my books here. So does Brandy. Let's see here. Ivan, good fishing. There we go. Let's see. What's X? I saw Granny on Lee's channel a couple of days ago. Yeah, she goes on there a lot. She's probably okay. I hope so. Colorado Jan. Now, Colorado Jan is the one that's been missing for a little while. If anybody sees Colorado Jan, let us know. If you see Colorado Jan, tell her hi. And let us know if you see her somewhere. Hope she's okay. 105 on my screen. 105 what? Likes? We do a refresh. Carbon is life. That's right. I'm still only showing 94 likes. I just did a refresh. I've wiped my feet already, says Kenny. Cha-cha. Possible says cha-cha. I heard about Lane or somebody she knows. Who we're talking about? Al Gore rhythms. Yep. We have Al Gore has no rhythm in the house here. At least it was in here for a little while. Yeah, he likes to play around with global warming.
Minnesota minimum channels. As does Al Gore. I just saw Al Gore in one of Diamond's videos a little bit ago. Yeah, I caught the tail end of one of Diamond's videos. And I've been in Lee's channel a little bit tonight. Been seeing UFOs in Texas Panhandle. Tex is near where I live. Wow, Ivan. Jason Smith says, sure, the elites believe the sustainable level is 2 billion people. This is a population for modern agriculture. You don't even need modern agriculture. Lord, just see my video I did, my last video I did Wednesday night. I think the world could sustain 2 trillion people with old-fashioned raised bed type, except for someone that live in the ocean. We could probably do 200 billion people on the land, though. 200 billion people on land, using nothing more sophisticated than raised bed technology. Let's see, Brandy. American Indians were wiped out because they were self-sufficient. Ooh. Well, we got to learn from them. We got to go back to them and try to reintegrate a lot of their ideas. You know, I did a little video where I talked about East Wokistan and West Wokistan. I said we're all Indians in the middle, and they basically want to attack us the same way. So, you know, I'm saying that, you know, we Americans here in flyover land have a lot more in common with American Indians than you might think in terms of intended destiny by elites. But I don't think they're going to get away with it this time. I saw Colorado Gent on his channel a few days ago. Oh, whose channel? Whose channel there was, Al? If the drill sergeant is out there, salute to Mr. Wilbarger. Mr. Wilbarger there. Everywhere I go, there's a drill sergeant there. Everywhere I go, there's a drill sergeant there. When I go to bed, there's a drill sergeant there. When I go to bed, I don't know how all that went. When I go to chow, they had some little song like that we used to sing in the Army. Everywhere I go, there's a drill sergeant there. That was pretty. Microgreens. Hey, there we go. How you doing, Microgreens? We love green, Greg. Thank you, Microgreens. Hey, I'm going to be getting a new banner tomorrow. I'm going to, our local farmers market starts tomorrow that I go to most. I'm not going to go to that farmers market because we got a couple more things we need to get set up. I've got a banner coming in tomorrow. I'm going to receive it at NartNet Meet, which is a local preppers group. If you're local, go to the Huntsville, Alabama library at 10 in the morning. If you're a prepper, if you're local and you're a prepper, big prepper group meeting there. I'll probably talk a little bit there, but our main speaker is going to be Mr. Warditsky, who I had on my channel the other day. He was a former assistant secretary of the Army. I interviewed him on my channel. He will be there. He's running for Congress for our local district, and he resonates with us preppers. In fact, I met him at a previous NartNet meeting. He will be at the next NartNet meeting as the speaker. He came to the one where I spoke. So he's a very interesting individual. So be there if you're local. But there is a group from Chattanooga that makes signs and banners, and I've contacted them, and I'm having them make a sign or banner for me for the worm farm. And microgreens. It's mostly going to be aimed at microgreens, but I'm going to be doing, I've been getting my mushroom house worked on. So hopefully I'll be in a mushroom production really soon. So I'll find a photograph of this banner as I sent it to him. I don't know if I got the latest one on here. I might show it to you if I can find a version of it at least. La-dee-da-dee. Da-dee-la. Da-dee-la-dee. La-dee-da-da. Hang on. That's what I want. Sent. Ting, 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 ting. Try to put it on my phone if I can. Oh. It ought to be in my. Hang on. It ought to be in my saved files. Maybe I'll find it. Might even have it on this other computer here. Oh, I have to find it. Yeah, I don't go through all that to find it. When I saved it, it'll be here. No, it's not in that directory. Well, I'll be showing it y'all. I'll show y'all my new banner. We should get it tomorrow. In fact, y'all see it when I go to the farmers market week after next. We'll have it hanging. Oh, I was going to have an interview. I had set up an interview with Dave Womack, who's producing a documentary series on called Dark Skies about grid going. I was going to have him on Thursday night, but it looks like I'm going to have to be up Thursday night doing the wet dress rehearsal for the Space Launch System. So I'm gonna have to reschedule with him. And I got an interview. Hey, I'm gonna do Jason Avers and I. We're gonna do a show Tuesday night, get a little willing. So I'm gonna be getting some more interviews coming back in here. This week's been a slow week. I just had too many other things going on. It's been hard for me to do videos, guys. Very hard, especially videos with topics. I just not had time to pull everything together. A lot of material I want to cover. I'm just having a hard time pulling it together. It's just been tough for me. North Shore dude fell asleep during the live stream. Yeah, I heard him snoring. He was in there for a long time asleep. Yeah, I know. I saw that. Poor fella. He's having a tough time, guys. North Shore's a good guy. He's a really good guy. He's having a tough time. You know what? I've dozed off a little bit, but yeah, he just knocked totally out. Poor fella. Happened to any of us. It happened to any of us. Guys, I lived a very sleep deprived life that went well into the 1900s. What is that there? There's some left. We will survive. Let me go look at what is that. Well, I'm missing some conversation here. Drops. Have you drawn a lot of mushrooms? Not a lot. Well, I got several huge bags. I got 60 something bags of mushrooms up in the house here, but I can't let them fruit out in my house because my house will be full of spores. This mushroom house was supposed to have been built months ago. It's been held up, but we're moving forward now. Oh, hi on a hog, Mr. Greggs. Like green Greggs and ham. It's kind of getting taken off from Mr. Zeus, green eggs and ham book. So I have a lot of fun with things. Oh, well, I've been missing a bunch of conversation here. Wow, how did I miss that much? All right, guys, I got to go through and read some of this chat. It seemed like I missed more than I thought I did. Oh, there's so many people with health problems. There are. That's a scary thing. It really is. It must be something in the environment. Oh, that's food we're eating. I haven't been. Oh yeah, I saw that earlier. Magnetic reversal is one of the reasons they say so many are losing it. Oh, you think so? People are losing their minds because it may be. People are losing their minds. My phone says 98. All right, we got 102 like thumbs up now. Very good. Thank y'all, folks. Oh, by the way, I had today, well, Friday, I guess it's already Saturday morning now. I had, a telecon with the Secure the Grid Coalition. And Tommy Water said that we got something that he believes that 6,000 responses came from our videos right here for getting the fuel rods safe, guys. Thank y'all. Guys, you're awesome. We can make a difference. I'm telling you guys, we can make a difference. Hang in there, guys. We'll be bringing more of that. We bring hope porn, not fear porn. So we're trying to make the world a better place. We're trying to survive. Let's see here. I've tried some pemmican the other day with dried blackberries. It was delicious. Totally lasts 1 to 3 years. Yeah, that's what they used to make for survival. It does last a long time. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, how we be nomads from off instead. There are no planes going in and out of where I'm at. Ooh, Sandra, that's interesting. Well, you got, what about the big airport in there in Phoenix, Cassandra? Is there any traffic? What's the traffic like there? I think a significant magnetic excursion. Yeah, that could be scary there, Jason. Right at her nose, says Kenny. Ivan Pantax has filed for and is approved for assembly. Now, who's Ivan Pantax and what is this? Oh, yeah, a sad thing there, Katie, about bounties. Y'all talking to each other, and it's good. Always good y'all talk to each other. We are a family. That's something like y'all doing. Oh my gosh, Katie. 10 for children. Oh Lord. Status quo. Have a good evening, Greg's chat. Good night. Excuse me, guys. All right. What's the bottom of the chat? I think. Okay, very good. Go, you know about people's convoy. Yeah, there's the convoy of truckers. It wasn't as great. The water levels dropping. If it get too low, they're cutting out the water of certain towns in Arizona. That's down in southern Arizona. It's not a problem at my part of town. The Coconino Aquifer is just fine. Yeah, they're having real water problems down in southern Arizona around Phoenix. But up in my part of the state, it's just fine. Johnny Coleman, they are uniting a lot of folks also. Hey, that's part of what's going on. Hey, Jin Jamin, that's his family here. Jin Jamin, that's some Zin Jamin. You know, that sounds like the name of the of a couple of premiers back in China. Jin Jamin, who what's his name? Oh shoot, and Xi Jinping. Paul Smith, it could. Let's hope it don't. That's what I worry about. It could. See, Putin does have his briefcase with him. The United States is poking the bear. What happened to Brandy? Did she get aggravated? Not Brandy. What happened to Amanda? Did she get aggravated and leave? She comes in with her guns flaring. You know, it's really, oh yeah. You know, I'm thinking about taking a wrench from her until she calms down. She just comes in with guns flaring, shooting out all the lights, where she even knows what you're talking about. So, I love bacon. There you go. Can't go wrong with bacon, right? Amanda, you still in the house? Are you still with us? Ace Lee. Putin is a pig, not a bear. War pigs. There you go. War pigs. Drops Tammy Shirk. Always the two people I'm talking about haven't been growing mushrooms for years. All right. Well, I hope to be into that real soon. Big time. Building a pretty good sized building to do it in too. I've grown some, but not a lot in the past. But I do have 60 some bags I've had for months now. They're probably just about gone through the better part of their cycle. Well, guys, it's late and I got some things to do. Well, I can go to bed and I got to get up early too to boot. So we might want to call it a night sooner. Oh yeah, I was going to share some other things here. We didn't get through it all. Now, the reason I was showing that with Putin is that he is carrying his nuclear football with him. And that's been one thing that's got a lot of people concerned. But I found it interesting whose funeral he was at, what that guy was about. And that's what I was talking about. So, good Lord. Yeah, guys, I'm running on fumes here big time. All right, I've had the last of my coffee and the last of my tea. I'm going to do a share again. We're going to go through a few screens. We'll try to go through them fast. Yeah, it's going to get down to 33 here tonight. And our wind's coming straight out of Canada, basically. Coming down from Fargo. That's where our wind's coming from tonight. Look here, Fort McMurray is warmer than we are up in Alberta. Kind of cool back over in here. 14 in Fairbanks. Hmm. 55 in Show Low, 66 in Holbrook. Why y'all having a heat wave? Snowflake is at 62 degrees. All right, what is it where I'm at? See, they're actually in cooler agricultural zone. I'm agricultural zone 7B. That's agricultural 7A. Okay. So it's probably about 39 where I'm at looking at this chart. 39 Ardmore, 39 Hazelgreen. I'm probably about the same temperature as Hazelgreen. I'm located right about here. So about 39 degrees right now outside, 43 in Huntsville. So it's a good bit cooler here than it is in Snowflake right now. It's cooler here than it is in parts of Alberta. How about that, guys? Alberta has got warmer temperatures in many places than right in here. I did see temperatures of that temperature right there. All right. Let's see what's happening in New Day's Old Ways neck of the woods. Oh, by the way, she's originally from right there. So one of the states I'm not been to. Wow, what happened? How do we get right here? Wow, look at that. Looks like a hurricane. Holy guacamole. I noticed that stuff jumps around me. Why did I do that again? Oh my God, I'm trying to zoom in. It keeps jumping out. I don't know, guys. I'm about to shut this out down. It's driving me nuts tonight. I can't scan on, can't do nothing. It's got to mind them song. 37 over here. 31 in Bangor. About kind of like it is around my neck of the woods right now. Cha-cha, you gone? Have a good night. 75 here yesterday, says Chewy. Almost 40 in Maine. Well, you're about the same temperature in Maine that I'm at here in Alabama right now. Well, it does look like a hurricane there. Well, what is it down in Amanda's neck of the woods? Amanda getting mad at me. I don't know why. Oh, look at this, guys. They're in autumn down here. Well, got some warm temperatures there, 70s, 68. 89 up here. What's the equator? All right, I'm not going to do rain, all that. I'm just going to pop out of this. We got to rock through some stuff here. It's late. Latest earthquakes over in the Sandy Fuca Plate. Okay. Puerto Rico. Always earthquakes right here. What is it about this location? It's always earthquakes right there. A ducted sunset. What the fact don't look like a nuclear blast, what does? Isn't that spooky, guys? Let's hope it's not prophetic. Here's your asteroid passes. That's all in the past. We're up here now to the 9th. This is where we're at right now. Nothing worrisome ahead that we spotted for the future. Which we always spot this stuff after the fact. But there's no known things to hit us. Now this is Poker Flats, or a rocket launched at Poker Flats to stimulate artificial aurora. I saw them doing this kind of stuff back when I was in Alaska. I could see a little puff above the horizon when they'd fire one of these off Poker Flats. It's all like a little pinprick puff in the right direction. That's a man-made as compared to a natural one, kind of puny by comparison. Yeah. Excuse me, guys. I was going to show the sun face. Ain't no big flares on the sun face right now. All right, I'm going to stop this share. Big sunspots. The sunspots are sliding away from us right now. I don't mean we won't get more really soon. You know, me and Mom, well, I live close to you. I'd help you with the farming. All right, well, thank you. Not everyone elementary soccer to coach. There you go, Elton. All right, folks, give us your prayer request real quick. We're going to do that, and we're going to call it a night. Bam, fried, guys. It is Fried Friday, or Friday fried green Greg's and ham, and green Greg's is fried. Go to bed, says, actually, I got a couple things to do before I go to bed, so I got to get this done, guys. Prayers. Prayer says, let's pray from Colorado Jen, just because we hadn't heard from her in a while. Let's pray for all the people over there in the war zone. A lot of innocent people get caught up in this stuff. Let's pray for Granny Lena and her granddaughter, Kaylee. Let's pray for Gorgeous Awesome. You know, that's a couple. They were having a tough time financially. We didn't see them for a while. They were in my chat session Wednesday night briefly. Pray for what else? There's something else in my mind. I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, pray for Randy Bly with the Blue Bottle Bunny Farm. Oh, your husband had a stroke, SLM. Okay, that's a good one to pray for. Let's pray for SLM's husband who had a stroke. All right, guys, Randy Bly, Blue Bottle Bunny Farm. Send in healing to Atlanta. There you go. Bring Atlanta. See the prayers on now. Everybody pray according to their own way for praying. This is not a religious channel. I don't tell you how to pray, but pray according to your way. All right. Whew, amen. Blue ball, yes. I prayed any longer and fall asleep. Healthy Albert's on a quick recovery. Okay, good to see that. Oh yeah, North Shore. I hope y'all prayed for North Shore. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, remember some of these people when you go to bed at night, especially the ones we missed. North Shore has been having a tough time. He comes in here a lot. He comes in our chat a lot here. Brandon Eslam, hugs, love, and healing. Very good. Thank you, Brandy. All right, guys. All right. Oh, Lord. I pray for the people that want peace. Amen to that. Blessed is the peacemaker. Amen to all that. All right, guys, let's call it a night. Let's call it a night. I am fried. All right, everybody. Oh, yeah, I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you all for being here. Thank y'all for being a family, the family that you are. Thank you, mods, for everything you do, and just everyone for being here. With that, I'm going to say thank you again, and